Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Mental Health Storytime. I feel like it's been a really long time since I did a story time, so I'm happy to be here on my couch, as always. My name is Lori, and I work for the Children's Book Bank, and today we're going to talk about something that's a little bit complicated and kind of has big words attached to it. And one of those big words is neurodiversity. What do we think that means? I bet you've heard the last part of that word, diversity, a lot, and you know what it means. Something that's diverse is there's a lot of different things. If you had a diverse group of people, it would be a group of people that come from all different backgrounds and have different opinions on stuff, and they look different, and they're diverse, they're different. And neuro is a shortened part of neurological, which just means stuff that happens in your brain. So neurodiversity just means brain differences. And everybody's brain works a little bit differently, as I'm sure you know. You'll have friends and classmates and people that, maybe they're really good at math and you're not so good at math, or they're really good at expressing their feelings and they like talking a lot and you don't like talking a lot so much, for example. Everybody's brain works a little bit differently, but some people's brains work quite a bit differently from other people's. And they call that being neurodiverse. Their brain is different. There are words, lots of different other sort of complicated words to describe brain differences. You've probably heard a few of them, and you might know people that have them, and you might have one yourself, and that's just fine. One of them is dyslexia, for example, has to do with reading. Makes it really hard to read because all the words get kind of jumbled up on the page. Your brain doesn't quite process them the same way other people do. There's autism spectrum disorder, which means a lot of different things. It can be a behavioral thing. People sort of behave in a different way that might seem a bit strange to you if you don't have autism, but it makes sense to their brain. And the one we're going to talk a bit about today through Storytime, is ADD and ADHD, which stand for very long things, so bear with me. ADD stands for Attention Deficit Disorder, and ADHD is Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. So both of them mean if you have an attention deficit, it means you have a hard time paying attention. So if someone in your class, or if you have ADD, you would have trouble really focusing on what the teacher is saying. If they're talking for, a long period of time, you might sort of start to look out the window or think about something else or doodle because you have a hard time paying attention compared to other people. If you have ADHD, that H is the hyperactivity, which I bet you kind of understand what that means too. If you're feeling really hyper and you're really excited, it means, your body can't stop moving and you want to jump and fiddle and fidget and maybe say things when you're not supposed to say things. So that's, if you have ADHD, not only do you have trouble paying attention, but you also have trouble not moving around and talking when you're not supposed to be doing those things. So, we are going to read two books today. One is specifically about ADHD, and it's called Baxter Turns Down His Buzz by James Foley and Shirley Ng-Benitez. There it is. And the other one by Willems, because everyone loves Willems, is Edwina the Dinosaur Who Didn't Know She Was Extinct. So we're going to read this one first. And I really like this one for everyone because it has techniques for people with ADHD, but I also think they're really good techniques just for anyone, whether you have a brain difference or not. If you're feeling really hyper, like you had too much sugar, or you're really excited about something, or you're really anxious about something. I know we talked about anxiety last week. It has some good sort of methods, some ways to calm yourself down when you need to be calmed down. So that's Baxter Turns Down His Buzz. And then this one isn't exactly about neurodiversity. It isn't about having a brain difference, but we'll talk about why I wanted to read this one when we were talking about brain differences after we finish it. But let's do this one first. Ba-ba. Baxter Turns Down His Buzz. Make sure you can see. That's good. Baxter was the fastest bunny in the forest. His mind buzzed with thoughts, and his body wanted to zoom. First, he would tap his little bunny foot on the ground. Then he would shake his tail, wiggle his ears, and zoom, he was off. He whizzed past the weasels and dashed past the deer. He was one quick, smart little rabbit. There he is. Can you see in the back? The deer and the weasels don't look very happy, do they? I wonder why. One day, Baxter's Uncle Barnaby noticed Baxter sitting under a tree, not zooming around like usual. "What's wrong, little Baxter?" said Barnaby. "I have no friends," said Baxter. "None of the other forest animals like me. I don't get it. I'm the first to win the forest games. I'm the first one to finish all my work. Baxter, I've watched you closely over the years. I saw the day that you won the annual forest race." "Oh, yeah, I was really fast and I beat everyone to the finish line," said Baxter. "Well, do you remember barging into the badgers and ramming into the raccoons on the racetrack?" "No," said Baxter. "Do you remember grabbing all the water bottles at the end of the race?" "Oh, yeah, I was really thirsty. The other animals were mad because I didn't share." "Baxter," said Barnaby, "rabbits are fast and smart. We see so far and run so fast that sometimes we zoom right by the other forest creatures. Zooming is usually a good thing, like when you're in a race and you want to win, but sometimes you can lose control of your zoom, like when you rammed into the raccoons in last year's forest race. My little nephew, to be happy, you must learn the lesson that all rabbits must learn. You must learn to turn down your buzz and control your zoom." "But Uncle Barnaby, how can I turn down my buzz?" "Well, Baxter, your buzz starts in your head, right between your bunny ears. You must slow down your thoughts and be aware of what is happening around you. Once you've turned down your buzz, you can relax your body and control your zoom. It all starts in your brain." "Baxter, listen, and I'll tell you what's happening for me right now. I feel a breeze gently touching my fur. I can smell new spring flowers. Mr. Squirrel is chattering at Mrs. Squirrel high up in the tree. Now it's your turn. Close your eyes. What do you hear?" "Well, I can hear Mr. Jay squawking in the tree and Mr. Frog croaking in the stream." "Good, Baxter. Just listen." He looks very calm, doesn't he? "Now what do you feel?" "I feel the wind in my fur and the grass tickling my feet." "Good. Now just feel." "Now what do you smell?" "I smell the sweet carrots growing in Mr. Bear's garden." Okay, just smell. Now breathe in the smell of the carrots and then breathe out. Keep breathing slowly in through your nose and out through your mouth while I talk. Now, Baxter, keep your eyes closed and put a picture of race day in your head. Do you see the picture? "Yeah, Uncle Barnaby, I'm standing at the starting line right beside Ralphie Raccoon." Good. Now we're going to work on relaxing your body to control your zoom. Feel your foot start to tap on the ground. It wants to go fast, but squeeze it tight while I count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then relax your foot. Feel your tail start to twitch and then squeeze your body from tail to foot while I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then relax. Then feel your ears begin to wiggle and squeeze your whole body while I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. Now open your eyes. I want you to practice paying attention to what's going on around you. Then practice relaxing your whole body. On the day of the big race, you'll be able to pay attention to the racetrack and all the other animals. Day after day, Baxter practiced turning down the buzz in his head and controlling his zoom, just the way his uncle showed him. Finally, it was race day. Chester the Owl, the forest mayor, was about to start the race. Baxter stepped to the starting line. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Baxter heard the birds in the trees and felt the wind in his fur. He could smell the pine trees up ahead. When he felt his foot start to tap, he squeezed his foot and then relaxed it. Baxter relaxed his tail, then his ears, then his whole body. Baxter opened his eyes, and then Chester waved the starting flag. Zoom! Off went Baxter. Just as Baxter flew around the first curve, Ralphie Raccoon fell right in front of him. Baxter skidded to a stop. He picked up Ralphie, dusted him off, and zoomed ahead. He's aware of what's going on around him. Baxter sped away from all the other animals. As he got close to the finish line, a baby chipmunk crawled out onto the racetrack. Baxter slowed down just enough to scoop up the chipmunk. He zoomed across the finish line with a chipmunk in his arms, just in time to win the race. "Thank you for saving baby Chippy," said Mrs. Chipper. "Way to go, Baxter," said Barnaby. "You won the race, and you did a great job paying attention." "Thanks, Uncle Barnaby," said Baxter. "I guess my buzz is just right." And what's he doing this time? He said the last time he was in the race, he took all the water bottles. And now he's offering water bottles to his friends. And that is the end of Baxter Turns Down His Buzz. And as I said before, I really like that one because even if you do have ADHD, it has some really great methods for sort of, just toning it down, calming down. But even if you don't have ADHD, I'm sure we've all had days. I know I have, and I am not a very hyperactive person. But I've had days where my brain just won't turn off. It just keeps going and going about something, I'm worried about or excited about. And this, has some really great ways to just turn it down. So you just talk about all your different senses one at a time. Just think about what you're smelling right now, and then what you're hearing right now, and what you're seeing. And it just helps to turn your brain off just a little bit, not all the way. You won't go to sleep. It'll be all right. So that was this one. Here we go. And now we will read Edwina the Dinosaur Who Didn't Know She Was Extinct. And after we'll talk about how this relates to having a brain difference or being around other people with brain differences. This is a great big book, so I think I'll have to move myself a little bit to make sure you can see. There's the cover. And here's the inside. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? Everyone in town knew Edwina. There she is. She was the dinosaur who played with the neighborhood kids. She was the dinosaur who did favors for anyone who asked. Edwina helped little old ladies across the street, and she baked chocolate chip cookies for everyone. Everybody loved Edwina, except Reginald von Hoobie-Doobie. You can see who that is. There he is. Reginald knew just about everything about just about everything. He liked to give reports in class about all the things he knew. Today, he was going to talk about things that are extinct. Do you know what that means? It means they used to live on the planet, and now they're all gone. Not just, one dinosaur died. They all are gone. That means they're extinct. Specifically, he was going to talk about dinosaurs. Because dinosaurs are totally extinct. But But as soon as Reginald started, Beth McFeeder asked, "What about Edwina? She's a dinosaur." Then Tommy Britcher said, "Yeah, Edwina can't be extinct. She bakes chocolate chip cookies for us." And then Miss Mink added, "Maybe Edwina is baking chocolate chip cookies right now." Before he knew it, everyone except Reginald was outside eating cookies. His little grumpy face makes me laugh. "No one listens to me with that dinosaur around," thought Reginald. "Tomorrow I'll prove to the whole town that dinosaurs really are extinct, and poof, Edwina will disappear." The next morning, Reginald handed out flyers that made excellent argument about how extinct dinosaurs are. They're very extinct. He's not wrong. They also made excellent hats. Oh dear. When flyers didn't work, Reginald tried protesting. You see his sign that says, "This is not happening." When protesting didn't work, he tried everything he could think of. It's mostly a lot of loud instruments. But no one listened. I wonder why. Finally, Reginald broke down and cried. "Boo-hoo," he sobbed. "Why won't anyone listen to me?" "I'll listen to you," said a voice from behind him. And there she is. Reginald took Edwina to his classroom. Inside, Edwina listened as Reginald told her the truth about dinosaurs. He was persuasive. He was expressive. He was loud. He was very convincing. Edwina was shocked, as you can see. When he was done, Reginald felt fantastic. No one had ever listened to him so well for so long. Everything Reginald had said made sense. There was no doubt about it in Edwina's mind. She knew she was extinct. She just didn't care. And by then, neither did Reginald von Hoobie-Dooby. The end. There she is, making more cookies. So that was Edwina, the dinosaur who didn't know she was extinct, by Mo Willems, who we all love. Who doesn't love Pigeon, Elephant, Piggy, and Edwina, so on and so forth. Now this one isn't exactly about having brain differences, but it is a little bit about being different. And it made me think of being in a classroom, which hasn't happened for a long time because I'm an old person. But I remember being a kid and being in a classroom where other people had brain differences. They were neurodiverse. And I had a really hard time understanding why they were allowed to do things that I couldn't do. You know, people with ADHD often, they have to fidget and that actually helps them focus. Whereas if I was fidgeting, the teacher would say, "Stop fidgeting," kind of thing. So it just made me think of if you don't have a brain difference and someone in your classroom does, it's really important to be tolerant and empathetic and think about what it's like to be them. because not everybody's brain works the same way. Some people are different, and even if you, like Reginald von Hoobie-Dooby, scream and yell and say, that's not fair, they get to do something I don't get to do, or their expectations are different of them in the classroom, that's really okay. It's really okay. As long as you're doing your best and they're doing their best, it really doesn't matter whether the dinosaur is extinct or the student with ADHD gets to play with something or doodle while they listen. And that's why I read Edwina. Because, we shouldn't all be like Reginald von Hoobie-Dooby. And also, we shouldn't have as silly names as Reginald von Hoobie-Dooby, or no one will take us seriously. But anyway, these are the 2 stories I read about brain differences. If you're interested in finding them again, I will leave them up here. Baxter and Edwina. And there you go. Thank you so much for listening to my stories, listening to my big, complicated words as I try to explain what they mean. I hope it was helpful for you today. And I hope you have a great rest of your Saturday, which is when this video got posted, or another day when you're watching it. I don't know what you're doing. It's up to you. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you learn to calm your buzz in your brain, and also to understand that some people have a big old buzz in their brain. Until next time, bye.